It has just been one of those days where it feels like it's just one thing after another, man. Like, I have spent the last 40 minutes trying to fix this little camera part, and like once I get one aspect of it, another part doesn't work, and it's the little tedious things that are just so frustrating. But headed to the gym for a little back and buys. It is kind of late in the day already. It's like 3 p.m. 2:30, so later than I normally go. Today's been the first day that I felt like I have had no motivation to do this, which leads us to today's topic of conversation, which is, doing challenging things. Because for a long time in my life, I chose the path of least resistance, where I did what was easy as possible, and all that really led to was my life getting harder. Because when you do things like leave the dishes out, it just makes it harder to clean them later, and I think all these things just kind of compile together, and so what ends up happening is you just get buried with the weight of all the laziness you've had, whether it be in your business and physical health. Because if you do it in the gym, if you don't eat right, if you don't even work out at all, you're going to get to a place where, number one, it's harder to work out, and number two, you are just not as healthy, which, overall just makes your whole quality of life worse. And then in business and careers, I think what you put in is what you get out. As hard as you work is as rewarded as you will be, even if you don't necessarily notice it. I know in my life, I have never regretted taking risks. I have only regretted not trying, because even when I take risks, number one, I may succeed, which is, the best possible outcome. But if I fail at it, I learn from it, and I'm just one step closer to finding what works. And so I never really have the attitude of I'm wasting time unless I'm not trying. I'm only wasting time if I'm not trying. So with this 75 Hard series, I really feel like even if these videos don't do well, the fact is that I will have put myself through 75 days of putting myself to work every day and accomplishing something that I honestly don't know if I can do. And then whatever extra comes on top of that, great. But I know just in the future, when challenges come up, I will be able to look at it and say, if I can do that, then I can do this. And that's honestly why I do things like cold showers. I kind of talked a little bit about that a few days ago, but I think cold showers in the morning are great. Number one, they do have the health benefits, which I don't really notice those, but number two, if you can put yourself through that in the morning and then be thinking about all the people in the world that aren't doing it, you will have the confidence to go throughout your day, no matter who you're meeting with, no matter what you're doing, that you are that guy. And so I really don't think with things like that there's any negative. Like, what do you lose from trying that? And I think it's really cool, just relating it back to God, is in the Bible it talks about suffering producing faith and suffering being good. It says pick up your cross and die to it daily. So I think in life there is no other purpose than suffering. I think suffering is the point, because suffering really makes you realize how good things are. Now, I'm all for having fun, and I'm not totally sitting here saying put yourself through hell, be miserable all the time. I think you should enjoy the things of life and, the blessings that God gives you. But like I said, I think the path of least resistance is what a lot of people do, and it just leads to more tension in your life, in all honesty. So it really isn't even the path of least resistance. It is for now, but it leads to struggle. So while I may not be where I want to be, let's say financially, business-wise, but you can tell yourself that, nothing will stop you. because you are willing to go to places that people won't. You're willing to do things others won't. And so I think that really is just a mindset that I try and embrace. And the outcome of that has just been me starting to work harder again, starting to try different things to change who I am and change the bad things that I don't like about myself. And it's just been, little incremental changes, whether it be the gym starting off, then it was my diet, then getting my sleep dialed in. These little incremental steps and things you change compound. And eventually, if you change enough of these things, I think you will slowly become more near to the person you want to be. And so that is my kind of mission in life, is to slowly change all these things day by day, enjoy the process, and get closer to the person that is my full potential. What God has outlined for my life and who I could be if I were to follow God's plan and be willing to suffer. Kind of circling back on all that, I am willing to suffer today because I know that in the end, my life's foundation is on Jesus, and none of this other stuff matters. I want to strive for these things because I know that I can make the quality of life of those around me better. But in the end, if it brings me farther away from God, I don't want it. And I've prayed that many times, that if it takes me an inch away from God, I don't want to be, blessed with it. But you could take everything I have, all the money in my bank account, whatever it may be, and it would just not be even close in comparison to what I have in Jesus. And I think a lot of people need that. I think so many people build their lives on these things that are wavering. So many people spend their whole lives worshiping money, worshiping a career, fame, and it's all temporary. And a lot of times I still find myself chasing these things. And obviously I wouldn't be, happy about losing everything, but I know deep down that I'm willing to do that because it is not the ultimate thing that I worship in my life. And I think these things and suffering just go hand in hand. And I really do think, the point of life is not to just be happy all the time, especially as a man, but to have purpose. Anyway, I'm at the gym. I'm going to get my Bible study in, and then we got back and buys today. Back and buys. So let's get after it.